right, let's take a look here at Sun Wukong. Oh, oops, wrong mini. Sun Wukong and his clones, which are just him. All right. Sun Wukong, a melee fighter, 17 health. Move of 2, clones, 3 of them. At the start of your turn, you may take 1 damage to summon a clone in an empty space adjacent to Sun Wukong. Do not start with any clones on the board. Start off with his attacks. Infinite strikes for each other friendly fighter adjacent to the opposing fighter. Increase the value of this card by +1. Gain 1 action. Ryo Jingo Bang is a 0 attack. And after combat, if your opponent played a defense card, you go to Tricked You, which is a 4 attack, 3 copies. Taunting Laughter, 3 attack, 3 copies. Your opponent may discard 1 card from their hand if they don't ignore their card's value. Ox Form, 7 attack, 2 copies. This card's effects cannot be cancelled. If your opponent played a card, they may boost it. Wily Fighting, deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to your fighter. Slime Monkey is a 2 value. If Sun Wukong played this card, summon a clone in Sun Wukong space, then place Sun Wukong in a space in his zone. 4 copies of that sucker. 72 transformations. 72 transformations, 2 value, and 3 copies. Take an Ox Form, Tortoise Form, or Phoenix Form from your discard pile and return it to your hand. Then we have Bewilderment, prevent all damage, all combat damage. You may place your fighter in any space, 2 copies of that. Golden Chainmail, a 4 defense. Any combat damage you would take is dealt to the opposing fighter instead, 2 copies. Again, 2 copies of Tortoise Form. It's a 5 defense. Your opponent may boost their attack. And then the last form is Phoenix Form, and it's a scheme. Sun Wukong recovers 1 health for each clone on the board. 1 copy. And then we have Fiery Eyes That See scheme. And there's 2 copies. Look at an opponent's hand and choose a card. Put that card on the bottom of their deck. You each draw a card. So what are you going to be doing with Sun Wukong? Well, you immediately want to get a clone or 2 out on the board. It doesn't matter if you take a few damage. If you take 3 to get them all out, I mean, that's just, you're at 14 health, right? So what you want to do is take the damage and get your clones out. Get blocking. It might depend if they have something that runs through a bunch of clones, but pretty much you want to wall yourself up behind your clone wall and have them take the hits. Because if they take a hit and it goes over, they just die. But if you take the hit and it goes over, you're taking that damage. But then you could just bring him back for 1, right? And he's really a great character. He can just run away and hide the whole time and deck you out. Like, you'll have a ton of cards left in your deck and your opponent won't have barely any. So let's take a look here first. I'd like to take a look first at the forms that he has. He has 3 forms. He has Ox Form, Tortoise Form, and Phoenix Form, right? So Ox Form is always a threat. It's a 7 boost. That's one of his essential cards that he's going to want to play. And he's got 2 copies of it. Now, your opponent can boost it, but they're essentially discarding a card to do so, right? They can boost their defense. And usually you're still dealing damage with a 7, even if they boost. Then you have Tortoise Form. Your opponent may boost their attack. Well, they're usually not getting too far over a 5, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And then we have Phoenix Form, which is Sun Wukong recovers 1 health for each clone on the board. And there's only 1 copy of that in your deck. But you can recursion it with 72 transformations, and essentially you get all your health back. Your 3 that you had previously lost, you get a pass, so your opponent's going to be able to, or going through their deck faster than you. You can get it back 3 more times. You can do that 4 times throughout the game if you plan it right. Probably not going to happen, but you could essentially do that 4 times in a game. Recursion the Phoenix Form with 72 transformations. This lets you bring any of these back from your discard pile. And maybe you do want to be on the offensive, because he also, despite being, turtling up and hiding behind his clone walls, he's also good at aggressing if you want him to be. Mostly because of his cards force the opponent to make bad decisions in discarding cards, or it just makes him discard a card, So that is why his transformations are so good. And not only that, he's got a slew of other just sneaky cards that make the opponent make terrible decisions. Infinite Strikes being one of them. For each of the other fighter adjacent to the opposing fighter, increase the value of this card by +1, gaining action. What I like to do with this is actually surround my opponent, and here's just a little tip. I like to surround my opponent with all my characters. Then I like to not play this card. I like to play the Ox form because they're going to want to cancel this, right? So they throw out a feint, which is a 2 value, and you hit them with a 7, and then, I mean, they can boost, but essentially they're going to take 5 damage unless they discard a card. So I like to do that to trick them. I also like to use the Ryo Jingo Bang and just throw that out there just whenever in a fight. And I like to keep this, one of these, and one of these in my deck at all times so they don't know if they should not defend or defend. Because if they don't defend this, they don't even take, you don't do the second, they don't take damage or anything. But if they don't defend thinking it's this and they take a 7, that's going to hurt. Or vice versa, if they think it's the Ox form and you play this, you've tricked them and now you can play the 4, you know, or you get the tricked you effect of 4. So that's extremely good. Taunting Laughter literally makes them make another bad decision. Your opponent may discard a card from the hand if they don't ignore the card's value. So there's 3 copies of those, 3 of these, and 2 of these, possibly recursion of 3 times, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You get 11 of these stinker cards that just make it so your opponent has to discard a card or use an extra card up, which is very nice for you. Very bad for them. Then a typical wily fighting, right? And that's nice. And your sidekicks can use all your cards, which is very important in this deck as well, because if your sidekick is using a card, you don't have to worry about any after combat effects that might hurt you. If you're using it with a clone, you know, they're just taking a damage or you're getting rid of a clone. So deal 1 damage to your opposing fighter, in adjacent opposing fighter. Slime Monkey is the only card that Sun Wukong wants to use. And really you don't need to use it, and you can use it as a maneuver boost. You can use it because it's a 3, right? Or you can use it to get clones on the board without taking damage. So that's nice, and there's 4 copies of it. To me, because there's 4 copies, you have a couple that are usually like throwaway cards. If the opponent wants you to discard a card or whatever, that's probably the one you don't want the most. Bewilderment, careful when you play it because people catch on and they might use a cancel attack, such as Invisible Man's cancel attack, which will deal you damage. So be careful not to use that just all willy-nilly with Wukong. And then Golden Chainmail, you want to use this with Wukong. Stay back and keep these 2 in hand, because as soon as they do breach the wall and get to you, they can't do anything, which is super nice. And then of course Fiery Eyes is just kind of not a pass, but taking a look at their hand, see what they have type of thing. And you each get to draw a card. So there's that. There are certain cards you do want to play with just Wukong. Some you just want to play with the sidekicks, the clones. And that just depends all on, you know, who you're fighting against, what you want to accomplish, and if you want Sun Wukong to be out in the fray or not. Usually you don't, but sometimes you might want him to be out there for certain things in certain matchups. But essentially, Wukong doing Wukong things, hiding behind his clone wall, usually. You can go aggressive. It's safest and your best option to just run away, hide, let the clones do all the fighting for you, and you don't have to do a thing about it. Anyway, I hope that helps you understand Sun Wukong, one of the greatest fighters ever introduced to Unmatched, so that you can play him just a little bit better and annoy your friends just a little bit better.